All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mindgasms. So, I am Andrew, aka Word Salad Mindgasms, and I'm going to do a quick little kind of fun video here about whether the genius intellectual Jordan Peterson, of course, the famous slash infamous internet famous slash internet infamous rather clinical psychologist and basically self-help author Jordan Peterson, who's gotten kind of wacko about some things like trans issues and people on magazines. And I'm going to basically mock his ridiculous answer to the question of whether he believes in God with a whole bunch of questions about literally every word in the sentence, including "Do you believe?" and "God." So obviously not the word "in," but every other word in the sentence. So he's basically unintentionally doing the stereotype caricature of a stoner going, "What does meaning even mean, man?" So I'm going to go through this brief clip from one of his podcasts that he did recently with Jonathan Haidt, and I forget who the other guy is, but yeah, his answer is just kind of ridiculous and word salad. And I respect having taking a lot of trouble to clearly define words and questioning the meanings of words a lot, but he's just going to the extreme to use that to make his really simple position sound profound. He's not doing that in a dishonest way. I think he actually thinks that his points are profound, but they're actually not, and they're just oddly, ironically postmodernist sounding, even though he ridicules so-called postmodernists all the time by strawmanning them. So anyway, let's get into this clip here.
Well, the question, did that happen, begs the question, what do you mean by happen? Because when you are dealing with fundamental realities and you pose a question, you have to understand that the reality of the concepts of your question, when you're digging that deep, are just as questionable about as what you're questioning. You know, so people say to me, what do you believe in God? And I think, okay, there's a couple of mysteries in that question. What do you mean do?
What do you mean do?
What do you mean you? What do you mean believe? And what do you mean God? And you?
What do you mean do? What do you mean do? What do you mean you? What do you mean believe? And what do you mean God? Like, what does meaning even mean, man? Like, literally. Like, what does meaning even mean, man? Oh dear. So, yeah, that's hilarious.
Say as the questioner, well, we already know what all those things mean, except belief in God. And I think, no, if we're going to get down to the fundamental brass tacks, we don't really know what any of those things mean.
Well, we don't even know what any of those things mean, man. Bro, like, totally, we don't even understand what those words even mean, man. uh, yeah, Jordan Peterson is so hilarious. So, basically, though, so most people think about the way most people approach that question if they're asking someone, do you believe in God? They mean in your head, they mean do. Does that mean do you believe? That means is this your belief? And they mean you by the person they are asking, whether that person actually exists or not, or we're living in a simulation, or our perception of reality is very different from what reality actually is. I find those ideas fascinating too, but be realistic that that sort of question has a yes or no answer. And I get wanting someone to define God extremely clearly more than those other words. But do you believe? Do you believe that this is true? And then Jordan Peterson would, of course, go, well, what do you even mean by truth, man? What does truth mean? again, sounding ironically like a postmodernist, even though he criticizes people like Foucault and Derrida for questioning what truth is in the exact same sort of way as he does. Um, so does he believe that a god exists, and like that's basically what people mean when they ask you, do you believe in God? Do you believe that a god exists? And he seems to believe in some archaic version of a Christian God, which a lot of Protestants don't even believe now. But some people do have that belief of God too. So does he believe in that version of the Christian God? And he never really answers that question other than giving the sort of philosophical pragmatism answer that I act as if God exists. And if you're doing that, that's okay. But people have so many different definitions of God that, like I said, it's understandable to question what someone means by that. But if they mean the Christian God, which a lot of people do when the stereotypical, anthropomorphic, very historically recent uh, Christian God, that's what a lot of people mean when they ask, and does he mean and does he believe in that? I think he almost definitely does. But I mean, I can't read minds, of course, but I think he almost definitely does at this point. And he just kind of insert he brings up all of these seemingly complex philosophical points when he's asked questions that he doesn't really want to answer because, like, I don't know why exactly, because I can't read minds, but maybe because he doesn't want to be as clear about some issues for some reasons, like his so-called Christianity and conservatism, which I think he actually is Christian and conservative in everything but name, and a lot of other people do. But I don't think he's like some right-wing grifter like some people claim that he is. Oh, this person in the comments said Jordan is a sophist. Yes, I have looked that up before because I studied philosophy, the dashing rogue, and yes, I would agree that he is a sophist. He says he uses a lot of really empty rhetoric to make a lot of simple claims that sound profound to him and a lot of people, but he's not really saying much, and he's kind of giving a word salad answer, which is what he did with this answer to this God question. Like, what does do mean? What does you mean? What does believe mean? And what does God mean? And then, but basically, if someone tells you what their definition of God is, and they say, this is a yes or no, there's a yes or no answer to this question. Do you believe in my definition of God, or do you not? Do you believe that my definition of God exists, or do you not believe that it exists? And let's settle the definition of exist after you answer the answer with a yes or no as to whether you believe that my definition of God exists. And that's what he knows that's what most people are actually mean when they ask that question. And I think if he had to give a yes or no answer, he would almost definitely say yes. So anyway, uh, give your thoughts in the comments about his frequent word salad answers when he's asked the question about whether he believes in God, and what you think about this in comparison to very similar ways he's answered the question before, in comparison to slightly different ways. In terms of what I mentioned before, he kind of pragmatically acts as if God exists. I get why people would do that, even if you don't have religious beliefs. But I don't understand why you would do that if you don't have religious beliefs. That's why that does not appeal to me, because I don't believe in anyone's definition of God. So that's why I don't want to act like a God does exist, because I have moral principles that to me are totally secular and have nothing to do with God. And that's another thing I forgot to mention. It's stupid that Jordan Peterson circumnavigates the question and answers the question with a whole bunch of other questions when he's asked whether he believes in God. Yet in 12 Rules for Life and in a lot of his speeches, he said that no atheists exist because everyone believes in a God. Then if that's true, then if he wants to avoid contradicting himself, then by definition he does believe in God according to the way he's explained that in terms of criticizing atheists in the past. And I think that claim about him is stupid, because there are plenty of people who clearly are atheists, because you don't get to decide what someone believes or not. That's why no one actually gets to tell him that he believes in God or he doesn't believe in God. So his answer on this question is cowardly and inconsistent in terms of his criticism of atheists, I think. Anyway, just let me know your thoughts about all that in the comments. So thanks everyone for watching. Click that subscribe button, click that like button, click that bell to be notified when I come out with new videos. This weekend, I'll probably be talking about episodes 7 to 9 of House of the Dragon with my friend Dusty, who I often do movie and book chats with. And check out for similar kind of political drama topics like this, check out my most recent clip from a podcast with Dusty and Chris and I, in which I compare the views of the historian Thaddeus Russell and the philosopher slash political pundit slash YouTuber Ben Burgess, who's been in my podcast before. There are different views on Alexander Dugin, who's been called Putin's brain, and people like Thaddeus Russell seem to think, like I kind of did before, that he's somewhat of a sort of conservative postmodernist in a way, but a lot of lefties like Ben Burgess think that he's more of a dangerous right-wing revolutionary. So check that out as well, because it's very interesting and controversial. And oh yeah, of course, check out my Patreon page too. The link is in the description of the video as always. And if you give me $10 a month, you can vote on future books, movies, and topics that I will discuss both by myself and with others. And yeah, like I always say, I love you all. Keep being the tiny beam of light that shines through the almost impenetrable darkness in the universe. Most importantly, always remember this: the funk cures all, and groove is in the heart. And Jordan Peterson is hilarious and entertaining, and not nearly as smart as the way he claims to be and the way a lot of people see him. All right. Thanks again, everyone, and adios until next time.